All right, well, it's 12:01, so I guess we'll get this show on the road. Welcome to Rotary, July 23rd. Let's see. Sylvia, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Sure. Anybody got a flag to hold up?
Diane had one last time. I don't know. Do you still have yours?
Got a flag handy?
There we go.
Excellent. Yeah. Sweet. I pledge allegiance
To
the
the flag
of the United States of
America,
and to the republic that stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
God,
with liberty,
liberty and justice for all.
For all.
All right, thanks, Sylvia. Not too bad. I think we're getting better every week. A little
Well,
bit, anyway.
I like to emphasize the last part, but maybe we'll get it from a republic to a democracy someday, but anyhow, moving on.
All right. Well, good to see everybody on here. We got a decent turnout today. Today's a big day for baseball fans. The season resumes today, which I imagine a lot of people are pretty excited about. I'm excited to have something to watch on TV except game shows. So I know I'll be tuning in tonight at 4 o'clock. The Yankees take on the Nationals, followed by Giants and Dodgers at 7. So some good TV tonight. And so in the spirit of baseball, I thought I'd share some noteworthy events from this day in history. July 23rd, 1925, New York Yankee Lou Gehrig hits his first of 23 career grand slams.
Wow.
Wish Guy was here to appreciate this, but I don't see him. 1955, New York Yankees Bob Cerv and E. Howard are the first to hit consecutive pinch home runs. In 1976, Baltimore Oriole Reggie Jackson homers in his 6th straight game. So I'm sure tonight will be history in the making for reopening in the middle of a pandemic. So good to have some sports back anyway. So I don't know if everyone saw the e-news from Rotary District, but they had a polio survivor from the, I think he's from the Bend Rotary Club. And it was about a 2-minute video. I thought I would share it with everyone real quick in case you haven't seen that. So I think John's got that keyed up and ready to go.
An Oregon man is sharing his unique perspective on the coronavirus. He's a polio survivor, and while the viruses are very different, he sees a lot of similarities. K2's Allison Mechanic spoke with him today about that.
It's been more than 60 years since this picture of Court Vaughn was taken, but the world then and the world now is in a very similar place.
We didn't know how it was spread, so you didn't know how to protect yourself. There wasn't any theory, there wasn't any cure or way we knew to treat it once somebody got it.
Vaughn is describing what the 1950s were like when parents feared their child would get polio.
In my community, the bowling alley was closed, movie theaters were closed, the public swimming pool was closed. You know, parents were afraid to send their kids outside to play in the park.
Despite the safety precautions taken around Court, he got polio when he was only 2 years old. He survived after spending 3 months in the hospital, but his right leg was permanently paralyzed. Today, he's back in the high-risk category, but this time for the coronavirus. While the response and the unknowns are the same, he's noticing one big difference.
It just seemed like there was a unified community to fight polio, that people were not complaining that places were shut down, but glad they were so that they could keep their kids safe.
That was Allison Mechanic reporting. Vaughn is hoping that his story will remind people while coronavirus is different than other diseases, it can be beaten. He's also hoping when a vaccine is developed, people will want to get it.
This morning, we're on your side breaking down the differences between.
Right, well, thanks, John. Yeah, so it seems like there's a lot of similarities, at least in terms of of what happens in society between, these pandemics. And hopefully the vaccine will be on its way soon and we can get back to meeting in person. It sounds like they're coming up with some promising trial results anyway, so fingers crossed on that. Let's see, does anyone have any announcements they'd like to share? Diane?
The first vocational group meeting will be next Thursday. It's the committee meeting via Zoom at 11 o'clock prior to this meeting.
All right, thanks, Diane. Anyone else have announcements? Sylvia?
Just a reminder of the beach cleanup coming on August 8th. And if you were able to do your own little mini cleanup in our challenge 2 weeks ago, make sure you get that information to Jim Graham and send pictures to John Zagel. And if you didn't have time, I don't think it's too late. Beach, bay, your neighborhood park, whatever could use some sprucing up. So thanks for that.
All right, thanks, Sylvia. Yeah, we took a bucket down to the beach, but I think we picked the wrong beach because I couldn't find anything to put in the bucket. So have to try again next weekend, maybe. Any other announcements? All right, how about Bob? You got anything for us? Oh, I think you're muted, Bob. There we go.
How am I now?
That's better.
Anybody heard anything about Ken Riley's son?
Ken said that the test actually came out good. They didn't, they found that it hadn't spread. So I think they have it contained. It was actually the best test results they could have hoped for. So
Oh, good.
Good news.
So he's on the mend then, probably going
Yeah.
through chemo or? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't have much. Wendell's not asleep out there somewhere, is he? He's not even around, is he?
There he is.
Oh, hey, Jim.
It's here for you, Bob.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, I just love seeing your smiling face. You donated all your money, so that's all we
I
care
have
about.
no money left.
I understand. Okay. Are
Bob,
there any?
Bob, should you fine yourself for getting a call during a Rotary meeting?
That's not a call, believe it or not. That is my dog. I put one of these high-tech camera doorbells on, and now my dog keeps going up to my camera, which makes my phone ding. So I guess I could go shoot the dog, but I love the dog, so I can't do that.
Well, don't you think having a dog with a camera on is unique enough to still warrant
it
a
is
fine,
kinda
even though it wasn't a
unique.
call?
But
Yeah.
she's so funny. I mean, you watch that camera for a little bit, and all of a sudden, here she comes with her big black nose and smells the camera and then walks away. Yeah. Oh, well, it can only happen at my place. Hey, have we got any happy dollars out there? Somebody must have a happy story. Oh, there's Guy. He always has happy stories.
Hey, Bob, I don't have a happy story, but I was wondering if you guys heard the news. There was this Mexican magician. He had a disappearing act, and he asked this senorita out in the audience to count to 3. She goes, 1, 2, and poof, he disappeared without a trace.
Oh, bad.
Okay,
Oh.
1, 2, 3, grow.
That's a good one. I can't find you for that. Anybody else got anything?
Well, I'll have to be $5 happy to be able to watch some baseball on TV tonight.
Well, good. And you are rooting for the Yankees.
Of course, yeah.
Good.
Kinda.
Yeah, I knew it. Well, tell your
I got a
wife she better
$5
root for
happy.
the Yanks. Anybody else?
I got one.
Okay.
I got a $5 happy. I just started training for the Census Bureau. Not that that's really happy. It's kind of a cluster,
Uh-huh.
but it's work. So
Yeah.
Lincoln County's only at 40%, so they still need people.
Well, good for you. Good, good.
I don't know how you're going to get my $5, but I haven't been briefed on that yet.
Well, just mail us, yeah, mail a check to me. Better yet, give me cash. No.
Okay.
I'm sure that Keith will get together with you and we'll work something out.
All right.
Anybody else? John Zagel, you must have something.
Everything is great. I'll just put in $5 to that. Everything's great.
Good. Well, we're glad that you're so positive.
I will too. $5 for just beautiful sunshine. It's a great, as Mark Hanrahan says, it's great to be on this side of the dirt today.
Yes, yes, it is. Well, I better put in $5 also for my dog. But anybody else?
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, I'll put in $5. This is kind of a selfish thing. I have a brand new DR chipper, and it just eats up limbs like crazy, and so I am so happy.
Well, good for you. Who cuts the limbs? Okay.
Mother Nature.
Yeah.
She drops them all the time.
I see. Well, good. Just don't stick your hand in there.
Bob.
Yes, Jim.
Yeah. You know, I came from a family who embraced family achievements and kept them as a memento. And yesterday, Kathy and I went over to one of our 3 storage units. They're dedicated to the kids. I damn near killed myself. And I took out 20 boxes that I'm going to be proud to drop at 2 of my daughter's houses.
Oh,
they're full of their stuff. So I guess I'm $5 happy that I'm not doing it today.
That's a definite happy buck. So that's good.
You remember those swim medals that kids used to get, right?
I've got a whole bunch of them if you ever want to see them.
Oh.
I've got some happy bucks. I'll do $10, 5 for
Hi,
me.
Ursula.
Hi, Bob. 5 for me and 5 for Sylvia because we're wearing our hero hats that we were given last week. So they arrived in the mail and we are fashion coordinated today.
Well, I tell you, both of you look very fashionable. Very fashionable. Well, good. Well, Freddie, I think I'll just turn it over to you.
All right. Yeah, I was going to comment. I think those hats do look great on Ursula and Sylvia, and it looks like Sylvia has something she wants to say. So.
Yeah, I'll do another 5 just because it made me smile when I got the box from DG Cindy O'Neill. She lives in Bend on Rabbit Brush Drive, and I think Rabbit Brush kind of describes most of Bend, so that made me smile, and I appreciate her promptly sending those. It was impressive. So another 5 happy for me.
Yeah, she was really prompt. I also got a box with some of those window stickers, so I think I've got one for everybody. So if you're in the area in town and want to swing into my office, I can give everyone one of those. Otherwise, we can catch up and make sure you get them one way or another. But anyway, I'll bring those tomorrow and have them here at the office in case anyone wants to drop by and say hello. So let's see, moving on to our program. I see our speakers here. We've got a good one today. Richard, do you want to introduce Nancy?
I certainly will. Too. So I first want to introduce Food Share of Lincoln County because that's really what Nancy is. So since 1982, we've had Food Share of Lincoln County here to help raise awareness and eliminate hunger in our county. One of the things that some of you folks may remember or know is Bejeweled. That's one of their big fundraising events. That's their largest fundraising event. They do food drives with barrels in your office or store. They do Cooking Matters programs, Lincoln County Pocket Service Guides, which helps folks know where to go and what to do or how to facilitate things, food boxes, and lots of volunteer opportunities. Food Share distributes over 1 million pounds of food a year. They work through different food pantries, including all the major cities here, Newport, Lincoln City, Depot Bay, Wellport, Siletz, Toledo. And I think it's still true, but $1 will purchase 5 pounds of food. And I might ask Nancy to verify that, but she's the director. She helps coordinate the board of directors there. and helps coordinate volunteers and distribute, and just wonderful attributes there for Food Share. And I know we've been a partner with Food Share for the last few months, and I think that we're talking about revamping that a bit or upping that. So with no further ado, Nancy Mitchell.
Great, thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Couple of disclaimers. Thank you, Richard. Thank you for the invite, and thank you to the Newport Rotary Club for having me present today. I have probably about less than a dozen Zoom meetings under my belt, and this is a first presentation on Zoom. So bear with me, and I have my notes off to the side here, so I don't ramble off onto some tangent. But I really appreciate this opportunity, and I want to start off by saying thank you so much for your contributions. They've been very generous, and a little bit later I'll tell you how we're using those funds. So I thought I'd start with a little bit of just general background about Food Share. Richard, you did a great job. That cut my presentation in half.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm happy that you like to explore what we do. So we are Food Share of Lincoln County, and as Richard said, we actually have been in business for almost 40 years. So we got incorporated by the state and got our federal tax exempt ID number in 81 and 82. So we are the regional food bank serving all of Lincoln County. So we're basically the food hub, and we work with all the different programs that do the direct service to the community. We're also one of 21 regional food banks in the Oregon Food Bank statewide network. We're one of the states that is unique in that we have a collaborative statewide network. We meet quarterly. Now we're meeting more Zoom than anything, but we share ideas, we share resources, we have statewide events that blanket the whole entire state of Oregon. We advocate with our legislators in Oregon for supporting so many issues around hunger and poverty and housing and those kind of things. So it's a great statewide network, and we learn a lot from each other. Our food supply comes from USDA commodity food, which is the government subsidy. That subsidizes a lot of farms and food producers throughout the country. We also receive food from the Oregon Food Bank in Portland. They do a lot of mass purchases, bins and bins of produce and bulk rice and things like that, and canned goods as well. And we also glean from our local grocery partners. Before COVID, we were doing that 6 days a week. We suspended that briefly at the peak of the onset of COVID because we weren't sure how safe all that handling of that product was coming in and out of the grocery stores. So we have resumed the local grocery store pickups 2 days a week at this point. And we also work with local businesses like Panini Bakery. They donate their excess product to us, which of course our community enjoys very much. And we do community food drives. A lot of that happens during the holiday seasons. But we also stress that a food drive is good to go year round. And like Richard said, having a barrel in your workplace or office, or the school, sometimes the schools and the classes do food drives. The PAC may have a theater event, and they're offering reduced admission for donations of food. So there's lots of great ways to help us keep our shelves full so we can do that work in the community. And if somebody has a question in the interim, please raise your hand. I don't need to be so formal. We can also do a Q&A at the end too. Also, quick question: how much time do I have during your meeting?
15 minutes, 20 minutes, somewhere like that.
Okay, great. So our funding is primarily comprised of grants that we write. Of course, we have a lot of community donations, and at least 50% of our revenue is from the community itself, the private sector and organizations, the faith community, businesses, and those types. We also have our fundraising events, like Richard mentioned. We've had Bejeweled, which is a unique fundraiser for Lincoln County. We receive donated jewelry, and we have a great crew of volunteers that go through it and they clean it and repair it. and they present it onto little displays, and we have basically it results in a ballroom full of jewelry during our one-day sale of the jewelry. Unfortunately, our event was scheduled in May and we had to cancel that. We had at that time rescheduled till October, but I'm pretty confident that we're not going to be able to have that fundraiser this year at all. It's a pretty large crowd that comes to our event. Not as large as Seafood and Wine, but it's large. And it's a lot of people that enjoy jewelry. And when we open the doors, they're rushing in to find the bargain of the day. So with that type of group and that kind of excitement and enthusiasm, we just wouldn't be able to hold that event as it was. So hopefully we'll explore that next year. But that did, take a little chunk out of our budget for this year not to be able to have that, as many of our local organizations have experienced also. We partner with right now 28 different programs throughout Lincoln County, pantries, meal sites, backpack programs, senior programs. We deliver fresh produce to low-income housing complexes, and that's a model that's fairly new because there's a lot of barriers sometimes about getting to a program, transportation or childcare, that kind of thing. So if we're bringing food to a 50-unit low-income apartment complex, we're serving 50 people in one fell swoop. So, or 50 families, I should say. So it's a nice push model that we can do, and it just makes an impact immediately for that many families. And then, of course, we still have the model where people can go to a location and get food assistance. We also work with programs. Some of our partner programs include My Safe Place, which is formerly My Sister's Place, the Salvation Army, Grace Winds Haven. So, we're fortunate in a small community like this where so many of our organizations work together and share resources and support each other. So we have a lot of great local partnerships in Lincoln County. A couple of the other programs we do are, of course, our food assistance, our what we call emergency food assistance is our major goal and our primary role as Food Share of Lincoln County. But we have other programs where we kind of maybe explore the root causes of hunger. One of them Richard mentioned is called Cooking Matters. It's a nutrition education class. It has a variety of opportunities for families to learn basic cooking skills. Something as simple as how to use a knife properly, knife skills so you can chop your vegetables, and trying new things that you may not like, and experimenting. The recipes are performed in the class itself, and then the recipients are able to take home a duplicated lot of the same ingredients so they can do the process again at home with their families and practice that certain recipe they learned. That class also teaches shopping on a budget. There's a week 5 out of the 6-week course. They go to the grocery store and learn how to read labels, ingredient labels. They're taught, how to buy fresh when things are in season because it's cheaper to do that. We also have tours at the local farmers market, which also introduces low-income families on food that we can source here locally through small farmers and food producers. So it's a great program. We partnered with Samaritan House and having their families participate in this curriculum, as well as Lincoln County Probation and Parole for those transitioning out of the incarceration and teaching them some basic skills to get themselves moving forward. So that's a great program. We also have a food recovery program with Newport Samaritan Hospital here, and we receive excess unserved prepared food from their food service department. So we appreciate that quite a bit, and there's a good variety that we get from that. That right now has been temporarily suspended, but we hope to be able to pick that up pretty soon. A lot of what we do, our gleaning in our grocery stores, is an effort to, number one, feed families in Lincoln County, but number two, we are reducing waste. So instead of the hospital throwing out that food that they had in excess, we can turn that around and and provide it to families who need the assistance. Same thing with the grocery store donations that we pick up. We also, these days, are emphasizing a lot on nutrition and fresh food as much as we can. So we're quite proud of that fact that we are serving a lot of fresh, nutritious food. So countywide, we provide food assistance in the various formats I've described to about 1,800 households each month, and that totals around 4,000 Lincoln County individuals on a monthly basis. So who accesses our programs? We have a computer software that we use for client intake countywide in all the major pantries. And there's a reporting opportunity there to find, to really drill down into demographics of who we serve. A lot of people think we only serve the homeless or that kind of thing. And so this is a great way for us to really take a deep dive into why people come to our programs and what are their needs. So some of the statistics I pulled out of reporting for last fiscal year about who accesses our programs, 24% are kids from 0 to 17. So there's lots of families that we're serving. 54%, so over half, are between the ages of 25 and 64. And 13% are 65 and older. And I know personally and for a fact, visiting programs that we do serve a lot of the senior population, those that are on fixed incomes. 11% have reported being diabetic. Now these numbers that I'm sharing with you are self-reported through the client intake basis, but it's much more information that we've ever been able to gather in trying to figure out what the needs are for people in our community. 23% are full or part-time employed, 37% are on a fixed income, and 20% have reported unemployed or no income. As far as housing, 53% of the people who access food programs live in rental homes or mobile homes. 11% are homeowners. 6% are in public housing. 13% are camping or in their vehicle. 17% living with friends, families, hotels, or other. So 53% of the people we serve are housed, which is a good thing. Actually, a little bit more than about 62%. And as you know, in Lincoln County, I could say this more for pre-COVID times, but the majority of the industry here for jobs is hospitality, and oftentimes those can be low-wage jobs and with not a lot of great benefits. So in those types of jobs, and the majority of Lincoln County residents that may have those types of employment, about 2/3 of their income will go to just housing alone. So we are all aware of the housing, increase in housing prices here. So that takes a lot out of a paycheck, and that's what leads people to our doors. And it also causes people to have to choose between paying rent or paying their utilities or their car insurance, or if they have enough money at the end of the month, some food at the grocery store. So that's in general what we do and the people we serve. And then I wanted to touch a little bit on more COVID related things that are happening with Food Share. In mid-March, of course, when the big announcement came and the COVID hit, the governor came into action and allotted the statewide network of food banks, the 21 regional food banks in Oregon, allotted funds for us to spend on immediate food supply for the next 8 weeks. So when we got the news of that and the time frame in which we had to spend money in 8 weeks, we got right to work on that. So we were encouraged to spend locally, which we did in our network of programs. Our pantries and meal sites went on an 8-week purchasing extravaganza, I should say. And we supported local mom and pops, small farmers, local grocery partners, whoever we could to bring food into the pantries for the immediate need. Because we did see that spike, that 2-week spike in March was quite a significant increase. In the 8 weeks that we had those funds, we spent $24,000, and all that went back into our community. So we thought that was a pretty good deal. We are continuing to do that kind of local purchasing with your funds, the Rotary funds, and other funds that we receive, for instance, through the Siletz Tribal Charitable Contribution Fund. We think this is important right now to be supporting our small businesses and small farmers, and because oftentimes they're the ones that are donating to us. So with these funds, this is what we have chosen to do and try to support, keep supporting our local economy. So we did see that spike in the first 2 weeks of March. There was that overall panic. You saw it in the grocery stores, all the beans and the rice and the flour were gone, and all the toilet paper and that kind of thing. So we had a big increase in our pantries that first couple of weeks, the last couple of weeks in March. From then on, there's been so many programs that have sprouted out. The Lincoln County School District started delivering food via the bus. The Moose Lodge in Walport started serving meals. Grace Winds Haven was giving out sack lunches, breakfast and lunch. Several service groups were doing something in order to assist people with food. A lot of it was immediate prepared food that people could eat. So our numbers sort of leveled off as far as pantry visits, but they've stayed very steady. And quite frankly, I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet. I think the residual is really going to be later, coming up later in this later half of the year. So I expect that our numbers will stay steady, if not increase. And then when the Pacific Seafood workplace outbreak happened, that was a whole nother challenge in itself. The phones were just ringing off the hook about how are we going to get food to these quarantine families. We don't want them out getting food at food pantries, and we don't want them out of the grocery stores. So how do we do this, and how do we do it quickly? So we at first here at Food Share, in any of the calls that we were receiving, we just made food boxes on the spot, and we had people, volunteers or different groups that were able to do the deliveries. And then after about a week of that, we formed a coalition, if you will, with the County Mass Care Team, Fishermen's Wives, Centro de Ayuda, the Alala Center, Salvation Army, because they just came on with their new pantry. And we got food out to those quarantine families. Didn't we, Corinne? And that was a great collaborative effort, and it was I just can't even imagine how how those families feel when they can't even access food anywhere for 2 weeks. So we were very happy with that response, and that's slowed down a little bit. But as the case, the positive cases still come, we may have more of that. But we have a really good system in place and a lot of great community groups that are willing to do the delivery part of it. So we think we have that pretty well covered. Let's see. And I did mention all of those communities we partnered with. So overall, that's pretty much where we're at in the COVID thing. I just think that we continue. Luckily, our pantries are all operational, and we're doing, the pantry model is different. We're doing a shopping, prepared food box model as opposed to the self-shopping model, which we've had for the last decade. But it's working. Everybody's still open. Our volunteers are doing well, and things are moving right along. Yes. Overall, in the reporting software that I mentioned earlier, from last fiscal year to this fiscal year, we have seen a 38% increase in the number of individuals accessing a food program. So every year it increases anyway, but that seems to be a pretty substantial increase. So that might be a little COVID related, or just the economy in general related. And of course, we have many, many, many volunteers throughout the county that do this direct service work. We have over 100 volunteers that perform about 24,000 volunteer hours a year. And if you put that into an in-kind value, that's a value of about $500,000 of in-kind support. So this work would not happen without our volunteers, and we're so grateful. And I've been at Food Share for over 20 years, and some of those volunteers are still with us. So it's quite the dedication. I think that covers pretty much in general in our COVID-related response. In closing, I would would like to share a couple testimonials from some program participants. One said, the food program has made it so my medication is more affordable. Another one says, retirement hit us hard and we'd really be hurting without your help. And one more, if not for this program, my 9-year-old would not be able to eat at the end of the month. So we know we're making a difference right here with our friends and neighbors and people we all know and see in the community. And I want to thank you again for your support and your very generous donations. They are making a huge difference. And we will keep doing that local purchasing to help our economy get stronger here in Lincoln County.
Excellent.
Well, thanks, Nancy.
Sure.
Such great information. Anyone have any questions for Nancy?
Actually, I do if you got time. You mentioned local farmers. Do you ever buy any Yakun?
Oh, actually, Guy donated some of that to us. That was, I have to say, that's probably the first time we've given out that product, but it has such a story behind it. It was, yes, it was wonderful.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank you, Guy.
Hey, I've also this year planted about 100 corn crops and some bean crops, and I've got probably another 60 own plants. So come fall, you'll be getting some more.
Excellent. Love it.
Let's see, I think Sonetta had a question. Didn't you, Sonetta?
I did. So you couldn't do the Bedazzled show this year, but can you do 2 next year? Could you do like a May and an October next year to make up for it?
Yeah, we'd love to do that. Yeah. I mean, we've been trying to think about how we could pull it off virtually, but I just,
Yeah.
you go to a jewelry show, you want to feel it, you want to wear it, you want to try it on. So we're really hopeful that we can do it at least once and maybe twice next year.
Right, Keith had a question too, I think.
Well, I just have a comment. One of the things that we're learning through the Red Cross is the need and people finding where they can get services like the food share. And there's a nationwide company that does that, or website, and you just put in your zip code and it will tell you all the charity, all the social service things available in your community. And that website is just auntbertha.com. AUNTBERTHA. I got it in our chat. auntbertha.com. Enter your zip code and you'll find social services. So if you're looking for something like that around the country for a relative, or even here in Lincoln County, you can put that zip code in, and the charities that aren't listed on there can certainly get on and get their charity listed on auntbertha.com.
That's great. I hadn't heard of that one. I know of 211, and there's also a food finder that I believe is sponsored by the Oregon Food Bank, so that's probably Oregon-based, but it may be countrywide. But yeah, that's great information. Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I just have a quick comment too, Nancy. If you get to a place in the future where you're delivering food boxes because people are quarantined for COVID, would you please give me a call, because the foundation has that protein prescription program, and that would be a great way to kind of get that food out to people. So we, maybe we could partner on that.
Okay, are you still doing that right now, Ursula?
We are, yep.
Okay, okay, we'll keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah, and I'll pay $5 because I just said the foundation.
On behalf of Laura Kimberly, our new Membership Matters Chair, do you have any interest in becoming a Rotarian, Nancy? You would make a wonderful one.
I would consider that invite for sure. I do belong to the Optimist Club, but I don't believe our meeting dates are conflicting. So, well, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
And Laura just came on, so she'll talk. I'll be quiet.
Nancy, I can get your email. I don't know if was it John that gave you the Zoom information?
It was Richard.
Okay, so I'll get your email from one of them, and I'll reach out to you to see if you're interested.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, thanks again, Nancy, for coming on. Boy, you sure provide a crucial service in the community for sure. So one of the things we talked about earlier is that Rotary's committed to stopping polio, which we're getting pretty close to accomplishing. And one of the things we like to do to recognize our speakers is to vaccinate 50 children in your name from polio. So we'll be doing that as a thank you, and thanks again for coming on. It's great information.
Hey, Freddie, I just wanted to make a quick comment for Ursula and for Nancy, and thank you, Nancy. It's so great to see you. We just received some COVID relief funds from the Oregon Health Authority that are specifically for outreach, so we can help with the delivery of those food boxes and with your program too, Ursula. If you need help, we've got some outreach workers who can help get that out to people, so we can connect later, but just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that. That's great.
Yeah, some great collaboration here. That's really helpful, I'm sure. Let's see, moving on to our secretary, which is Keith today. He's got the secretary hat on. Let's see, Keith, how about makeups and attendance?
Well, they haven't been sending me makeup, so I don't have any to do with that. So we've got about 31 members today, so we're right about 48% or so members present. And today's member incentive, I spun the wheel and it ended on the bottom number that I had. So that person that's always used to being last on every alphabetical list actually won today, John Zagel.
Finally.
Finally, yes. And the 50-50, we've got $50 in that, and I spun the wheel until I found a number that had participated, and the number that had participated is Marsha Buckley, and she gets $25 today.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. Consider that payment of a fine in advance if I ever incur.
Can we just give my $25 to Food Share?
Yes, you got that, Mark?
That would make me really happy. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
And the Zagel Award.
Yeah, just a couple things before I hand that out. I think we should have a $10 fine for anybody that complains that they can't find the information about Newport Rotary anywhere. So we're now on Facebook. All of our meetings are on YouTube. We've started Instagram. We're on a website that has over 30 pages of information, and then all of our emails among ourselves. So I think it's an automatic $5 fine if anybody complains they don't know what's going on in Rotary. So let me see who won this. Oh, the social media award goes to Diane Nelson.
Right.
I would like to contribute it to Food Share as well. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So anybody have any last minute announcements? So next week's program is Habitat for Humanity. We're going to hear from Lucinda Taylor, and they're wrapping up that project, so that should be a good one. And let's see, with that, we'll move on to the four-way test. And I don't know, I'm personally kind of missing Julie talk during these meetings. Do you still remember the four-way test, Julie?
I do, and I have the sign in my office. I will get it.
All right.
It's had to take it off the wall. Before we do, I just wanted to announce, I don't know if you all have heard about the coin shortage that's going on in the world. If anyone has their, like my husband comes home every day and throws his change out of his pocket in a basket. So if any of you have that, I'm happy to run that for you. You don't even have to bank here. Normally you have to, but I'll take as much change and run it for you and trade it for cash if you want to do that. So
I already pledged mine to a friend. She needs a dryer because hers broke.
okay, so the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair
to all
concerned?
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And 5, is it fun?
Is it fun?
All right, thanks, Julie.
Hey, Freddie.
What? Yes.
Freddie, question. I didn't realize that our local Diane was at the meeting. Did they catch the burglar yet?
Yeah, I was wondering that. Mine?
Kathy?
Yes.
Yeah, Kathy, your burglar.
Sorry about that. You guys, we have to go back to Thursday meetings somewhere else, because if I have my meetings at work, I apologize. I was running around waiting on customers. So we have to go back to work, or we have to go back to our regular Rotary meetings so I can get out of here. No, they have not caught them yet. It's actually a guy and a girl. We had a Bonnie and Clyde. We know who they are, and we have turned all that information over. It's just a matter of whether they can actually prove it. So she's communicating with her boyfriend, who is in the jail here in town. So they're looking at their phone records and their emails. And at one point she mentioned jewelry. So we're hoping that information will help our local police question them a little bit further. But we're 99% sure we know who they are.
Good.
So they cased us in the Lincoln City store, and we thought we were going to get hit in Lincoln City, but they pulled a fast one on us and hit us down here. So, but anyway, not yet.
Kathy, you know what? I had the Astoria people tell me that they thought it was a ring because the same thing happened in Astoria. Jewelry store, same type. So I don't know about that.
I don't either. I know that this is actually 3 people, and one of them is in jail, and they hit all over Lincoln County. So it's possible they were up in Astoria. It would be interesting to see any video, because it's pretty, the car was stolen, but he was pretty, he's pretty identifiable. And then I actually have a face view of him in my Lincoln City store, because he came in without a mask. So we know who they are.
Well, and it brings up, everyone be careful out there right now. We've had several customers this past couple weeks get their houses broken into. So kind of crime is up. You know, a lot of us leave our windows open when they sleep. They came in through their windows, robbed their houses. So fed their dogs really well so that they wouldn't bark or anything, and put the dogs outside. So yeah, starting to see a pickup in crime.
Absolutely. And I'm happy to pay a $5 fine for the plug here. But if you don't have your jewelry appraised and or photographed and a list of what you have, you're just an accident waiting to happen.
That's a $5 fine.
It's a $5 fine, but trying to remember what you have and what's missing is really difficult. So I'm happy to help with that. And at the very least, photograph and make a running list of what you have and put it somewhere.
Good points for sure.
It also helps to have insurance on your finer jewelry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But just even knowing what you lost sometimes can be a real problem.
All right, well, thanks for attending today, everybody. Good to see everyone, and we'll see you next week.